we will going to analyze the internal analysis of the environment. Internal analysis, which is adopt the position that the resource-based model of competitive advantage, competitive advantage may be the key to a company's ability to achieve strategic competitiveness by treating each company as a bundle or set of heterogeneous resources and capabilities. Okay. Now, in other words, resources and capabilities are not equally distributed among companies as it is assumed by IO model of strategic competitiveness. So, by using or exploring their core competencies, companies are in a position to develop a perform value creating strategies better than better than their competitors, or to create and perform value creating strategies those competitors either are unable or unwilling to imitate. So, okay. What is internal analysis? It is adopted the position that is the resource based. Okay, the resource based model. Okay, they're talking about the resource based model. Okay, how much resources it has, how much resources to share, or how much resources the company has the ability to achieve through strategic competitiveness. This is called the internal analysis. Okay, if you just go to the this original figure, that is 5.1, that is the strategic role of organizational resources, you will going to understand those are the things, that is performance result, competitive advantage, distinctive organizational capabilities. It is further been divided into organizational resources, organization capabilities, and now core competencies. Okay, these means distinctive organizational capabilities are divided into organizational resources, organizational capabilities, and core competencies. Okay, this is the diagram, or this is the figure of strategic analysis or strategic role of any organization. Now, what are the strategic role or organizational resources? Financial asset, physical asset, human resources, intangible assets, organizational asset. Intangible means which is not transferable. You cannot transfer those assets from one place to another place. That is, suppose earth, a piece of earth. Okay, or you can say a building. Okay, these are intangible assets. You cannot transfer it from one place to another place. Okay, organizational processes and routine, accumulated knowledge, actual work activities. Okay, so these are the organizational resources. Now, the next one is internal analysis framework. Internal analysis framework correctly, which is identifying, developing, or deploying and exploiting company resources, capabilities, and core competencies requires managers to make difficult decisions. In part, these challenges are a result of these challenges are a result of, you can see, the characters of both the internal and external, okay, environment of the companies. These challenges multiplied because of three conditions that characterize important strategic decisions. Okay, now these challenges are again multiplied into three categories, which are the characterize important and strategic decisions. The conditions or decision characteristic which is affecting managerial decisions about to resources, capabilities, and core competencies basically fall under three heads. Now, these managerial decisions, okay, yeah, then comes to the next resources, then next capabilities and core competencies. Okay, these are fall under three heads. Okay, now the uncertainty, you can say, uncertainty regarding the assessment of the general and industry environments assessment are predictability of competitive actions and customer preferences. Uncertainty is present because of the inherent difficulty in identifying, accessing, and predicting changes and trends in characteristics of the external environment. External environment. Now, among these characteristics, which are correctly predicting an extent, directions, and timing of the changes in general environment, such as societal values, political and economic conditions, customer preferences, and emerging technologies from other industries and how they might ultimately affect the company. Okay. Now, next come to the complexity regarding the nature of any inheritancelessness, interrelatedness of the cause of change in the environment and how the environments are perceived, especially regarding decisions as to which of the company's resources and capabilities might serve as the foundation of competitive advantage. Now, complexity is increased because you can see of uncertain nature of interrelationships among the characteristics of the external environment and the related challenge regarding how the assesses the effect of changes in them. The issue become more complex when managers must relate the complex external environment to their assessment of company's internal environment. The assessment affects the decisions regarding the company's resources, capabilities, and core competencies and their relationships to opportunities in the external environment that can be exploited successfully to achieve competitive advantage. Okay. Now, next come to the third point, that is intra-organizational conflict. Okay, intra-organization conflict which happens among the managers while making decisions about the core competencies of any other organization. Okay. Now, when managers make decisions regarding identification of the company's capabilities and choose to nurture them with resources to develop core competencies, then what happened? These decisions, which are absolute uncertainty, that decisions is correct. Okay. Now, and such decisions may result in changes or shift in power and interrelationships among individuals and groups within the company. When this occurs, there may be conflict as those who are affected adversely or perceive that they will be so affected may resist these changes. Okay. In some cases, managers faced with decisions that may have some unpleasant uh, consequences, or you can say some uncomfortable experiences. Okay. So that is why this are called intra-organizational conflict. Basically, this intra-organizational conflict took place among the managers, in between managers, while taking some strategic decisions or making some strategic plan. Okay. Next, come to the resources, capabilities, and core competencies. Resources, capabilities, and core competencies. Now, let us look at the background and the relationships between resources, capabilities, and core competencies that represent potential sources upon which a company can build the foundation of for a sustainable competitive advantage. Now, resources. It might be said that resources represent those assets, both tangible and intangible, with which the company has to work. it assets including these people and the value of its brand, a variety of individual, social and phenomena. To put it more scudity, look at the spelling. Look, wait. To put it more stunningly, resources represent inputs into a company's production process, such as capital equipment, skill of individual employees, brand names, financial resources, and talented managers. Okay, these are all called the resources through which the assets, which are both tangible and intangible. Okay, you may going to get the questions uh, regarding this paper. That is, what type of resources are used? Okay, so you will going to say that resources represent those assets which are both intangible and tangible, mm, and within the company. Okay. Now, including this, the organizational include societal, organizational, and phenomena. Okay. These where the resources are being used. Okay, now what is the tangible resources? Look at the example. Tangible resources are what you can say. Tangible resources can be classified or may be classified into four ways. Number one is financial resources. Number two is organizational resources. Number three is physical resources. Okay, financial resources, organizational resources, and physical resources. Okay. Now look at the examples. What are the tangible resources? Financial, physical, human resources, organizational. What a firm has to work with its assets, including its people and the value of brand name. Okay. Now intangible assets, technological, innovation, and reputation. Suppose, for example, resources represent input into a farm production process, such as capital equipment, skill of employees, brand name, finances, and talented managers. Okay, so these are tangible resources and intangible resources. Now, what is the definition of an intangible resource? Look, intangible resources may be less visible or they are no less important. In fact, they may be more important if a company expects to achieve a competitive advantage. Intangible resources range from innovation resources such as knowledge, uh, trust, and organizational routine to the company's people depend on subjective resources of know how, network, organizational culture to the company's reputation for its goods and services and the way it interact with others such as employees, suppliers, or customers. Now, these three primary classifications of intangible resources are presented below. Number one is human resources, number two is innovation resources, and number three is reputational resources. So these are always classification. Tangible goods are also been classified into three categories, whereas intangible resources are also being classified into three categories. Okay. Now, ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज में क्या क्या हम लोग काउंट कर सकते हैं एज एन इंटेंजिबल रिसोर्सेज? फॉर एग्जांपल सच एज नॉलेज, trust, and managerial capabilities. These are all human resources. The next one is innovation resources, such as scientific capabilities and capacity to innovate. This comes under innovation resources. Reputational resources, such as the company's reputation with customers, suppliers, with customer suppliers, with customer supplier. This is called the you can say intangible resources. Now, what is capabilities? Okay, next definition here. What is capabilities? A company's capabilities represent its capacity to integrate individual company resources to achieve desired objective. Okay. Now, however, this ability does not emerge overnight. Okay, capabilities develop over time as a result of complex inherited interactions that take advantage of the interrelationship between a company's tangible and intangible resources that are based on the development, transmission, and exchange or sharing of information and knowledge as it is carried by the company's employees, its human capital. Now, a company's ability to achieve a competitive advantage is thus reflected in its knowledge base and the ability of its human capital and human ability and human ability of its human capital. Okay, to successfully exploit companies' capabilities. Thus, human capital of its significant value in the company's ability to develop capabilities and core competencies are to achieve strategic competitiveness. The knowledge possessed the knowledge possessed by the company's human capital may be one of the most significant source of a company's competitive advantage. This is because it's represent everything that the company has learned, and thus everything that it knows about successfully linking or bundling sets of individual resources to develop capabilities as founding for developing core competencies and ultimately to achieve advantage. Now, establishing and nurturing the skills and abilities of workforce is of critical importance to companies' ability. Important not only to establish but to sustain a competitive, what you can say, advantage by acquiring new knowledge and developing new skill that will both enhance existing capabilities and core competencies as well as aid in the development of new ones. Now, current research suggests four methods by which knowledge is transferred within a company. Knowledge is being transferred within a company. Number one is socialization. Number two is externalization. Number three is combination. Number four is internalization. What is socialization? Common with appreciate and mentor. This occurs by observation and practice. The next one is externalization. This is the process used to convert tactic knowledge into explicit terms, a type of metaphorical model building. The third one is combination. This consider knowledge stores in different groups within the company to try to meld the knowledge and distribute it to other groups. The third one is internalization, the process by which knowledge generated by other three methods get embedded into the employees of the company. Newly internalized knowledge becomes a base upon which the cycle of knowledge creation, transfer, or embedding repeats itself. Okay. Look at the question answer in the resource and capabilities question. Look at, there are 9 questions are there which are important. Does the company use strategic management concept? Obviously yes, the management use strategic management concept. Are the company's objective and goals measurable as was communicated? Yes. Do managers at all hierarchical levels plan effectively? Do managers develop authority well? Is the organization structure is appropriate? Next one is, are job description and job specifications clear? Is employee morale high? If is employee turnover and absenteeism is low? Are organizational reward and control mechanism effective? So these are the review question answer. Okay, they want a feedback review. Okay, look at the questions from marketing, look at the questions from finance, look at the questions from productions, resource and development, computer information system. Come to the next, core competencies. Okay, what is core competencies? Resources and capabilities serve as a foundation upon which companies formulate and implement value creating strategies so that company can achieve strategic competitiveness and earn average returns. However, not all of companies resources and capabilities represent strategic assets that have competitive value and the potential to serve as a source of competitive advantage. If the company has a deficiency in some of its resources, it may not be able to achieve strategic competitiveness. For example, insufficient financial resources may prevent the company from implementing the process or integrating the activities which is being required to add superior value by limiting the company's ability to hire works within the necessary skills or investment. Thus, the company not only are challenged to scan the external environment to identify the opportunities, but also exploit it, but also have an in-depth understanding of company resource and capabilities. Now, this will enable the company not only to develop the strategies that enable it to exploit external opportunities, but also to avoid competing in the areas where the company's resources and capabilities are inadequate. Some indicators of competitive strengths and weaknesses are shown in table 5.1. क्या क्या है देखो, strategic competitiveness, discovering core competencies which is being directly connected with capabilities of team resources, criteria of sustainable advantage, value chain analysis, strategic competitiveness, above average return. Again, this is being advantages, resources, criteria of sustainable advantage, capabilities of team resources. Okay. Now, basically, these are dependence on following characteristic features, that is valuable, rare, costly to imitate, and non-sustainable. Now, sign of strength and weakness in competitive positions. Sign of strength क्या क्या है देखो, sign of competitive strength क्या क्या है, important core competencies. Sign of competitive weakness may confronted with competitive disadvantage. Now I am going to read one by one, that is competitive strength. What are the competitive strength? Number one, important core competencies. Number one is important core competencies. Number two is strong market share or leader market share. Number three is a pace setting or distinctive strategy. Number four is growing customer base and customer loyalty. Then the next one is above average market visibility. Then the next one is in favorably situated strategic group, concentrating on faster growing market segments. Next one is strongly differentiated products. Then the next one is cost advantage. Then next one is above average profit margins. The next one is above average technological and innovational capabilities. Weak product quality, in position to capitalize and opportunities. So these are, you can say, the sign of competitive strength. Now come to the next is sign of competitive weakness. What are the competitive weakness are there? Confronted with competitive disadvantages, losing ground to rival companies, below average growth in revenues, short on financial resources, a sleeping reputation with customers, trailing in product development, in a strategic group destined to Joe's ground, weak in areas where there is the most marketed potential, a higher cost producer, too small to be a major factor in marketplace, not in good position to deal with emerging threats, a creative entrepreneurially alert management, looking skill and capabilities in key areas. Okay, so these are the basic differences between sign of competitive strength and sign of competitive weakness. Come to the next is building core competencies. Building core competencies, we will discuss. What we'll discuss? Basically, we will going to discuss the available of the companies which are research to competitive advantage. The number one is four criteria which determine which of the company's resources and capabilities are core competencies, and the value chain analysis framework for determining which value creating competencies should be maintained, upgraded, and developed, and which should be outsourced. Okay, not outstated. I'm sorry, it is outsourced. Now, criteria of sustainable competitive advantage. What are the criteria of sustainable competitive advantage? Now, in this figure, we're going to read that one. Core competencies. Number one is resources. Number two is core competencies. Again, the resources is being divided in bins, broken into the source of capability. Does this capability satisfy the criteria of sustainable competitiveness? Whether it is a yes or no. If it is yes, it will be moved to our core competencies, strategic capabilities, and if it is no, then it will move to the capabilities which have a non-strategic team of resources. Okay. The core competencies must be valuable, rare, costly to imitate, non-sustainable. Valuable, rare, costly to imitate, non-sustainable. Next one, we will going to start. Next, we will going to start core competencies, cautions and reminders. Core competencies, in core competencies, what are the cautions and what are the reminders? Okay, because they are generally knowledge based capabilities, they are companies core competencies become more valuable as they are used over time. For example, sharing knowledge across people, jobs, and organizational functions, which may result in an increase in the value of that knowledge in which they are competitively relevant. Then the next one is core competencies can also become over rigidities. Then the next one is core competencies must be strategically relevant, which means that companies must continually strive to develop new competencies. Next one is new competencies must be developed to meet the changes of the new competitive landscape, as both technological and global factors are rapidly changing. Now, thus, nurturing existing competencies must be balanced by efforts to encourage the development of new competencies. The next one is value chain analysis. The second framework that companies can use to identify and evaluate the ways in which their resources and capabilities can add value is the value chain analysis. This framework is very useful because it enables companies to understand which part of their operations or activities create valuable value by segmenting the value chain into primary and secondary activities. Okay. Then come to the next. The first step in value chain analysis is to carefully examine each of the company's primary activities to determine the potential for creating or adding value. Okay, तो वैल्यू चेन एनालिसिस क्या है, इसका एग्जिस्टेंस कहां होता है, किस बेसिस पे ये काम करते हैं, और स्पेशली ये क्या एग्जामिन करते हैं. These are the few questions. Okay, number one is it is inbound logistic. Inbound logistic means examine the godowns, or you can say examine the warehouse inventory and distribution of raw materials or component parts into the production process. This is inbound logistic work. Okay. Then comes to the next is operations. Activities to be examined are all those necessary to convert the inputs, raw materials, or components available as a result of inbound logistics into finished products. Okay. Examples included machining, assembly, equipment, maintenance, and packaging. Then comes to the next is outbound logistic. Outbound logistic. Outbound logistic, what does it mean? This category represent the company's activities involved with the collection, storage, and physical distribution of products to customers. Example include warehousing or storage of finished products, material handling, and order processing. This is outbound logistic. And what are the works of outbound logistic? This category represent the company's activity. This category represent company's activities involved with the collection, storage, distribution of product to customers. These are called outbound logistics. Okay, always remember the examples. Okay, always remember the examples as well as the points, then only you can answer. Come to the next is marketing and sales. The next one is marketing and sales. Several marketing and sales activities must be completed to both induce customers to purchase products and ensure that products are available. Activities include developing advertising and promoting campaigns, selecting and developing sorry for the incoming call from my college. Okay, sorry. Okay, so where we are, marketing and sales. Okay, marketing and sales क्या है? Several marketing and sales activities must be completed to both induce customers to purchase products and ensure that products are available. Activities including developing advertising and promoting campaigns, selecting and developing distribution channels, and selecting training, developing and supporting sales force. This is the work of marketing and sales. You just underline these points. Okay. The next one is services. Now, what the service? What are the service? These are followed. These are the activities that a company offer to enhance or to maintain a product's value, which including installation, product use training, adjustment, repair, and warranty services. Okay. Now, what are the things included in service? So, these activities, what are the activities included in service? Or what are the activities included in marketing and sales? What are the activities included in outbound logistics? What are the activities included in operations or inbound logistics? So these questions may come in this format. Okay. So now we're going to discuss what are the activities that take place in the services. Now these are the activities that a company offer to enhance or to maintain a we can say a product's value, including installation servicing का मतलब होता है installation, product use training, adjustment, repair and warranty services. ये सारा कुछ जो एक्टिविटीज है ये सर्विस के अंदर में आ जाता है. The next step in the value chain analysis processes is a process in an examination of the company's as support activities to determine any value creating potential in those activities. The number one is procurement. Number two is technological development. Number three is human resource management. Number four is company's infrastructure. Now, what is the work of procurement? These are activities that are completed to purchase the inputs needed to produce a company's product, including items consumed or used in or used in sorry or used in when it is used in the manufacturing process, such as raw materials, component part, supplies, and fixed assets. Okay, so these are the procurement. Okay, now what are the activities that happening in the procurement? Now these are the activities that are completed in the procurement process, including क्या क्या होता है? Including से होता है जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल including होता है जैसे including items consumed or used in the manufacturing process, such as raw materials हो सकता है, और company components, parts, suppliers and fixed asset. The next one is technological development. What are the technological development? The activities that comes under the technological development are क्या क्या होता है? Completed either by improves a company's product or its production process. This include basic research. Process and equipment design, product design, and servicing procedures. The next one is human resource management. Now these activities, human resource management activities, are related to the recruiting, hiring, training, developing, and compensating, including performance, assessment, and reward system of a company's employees. Okay, so what are the activities of human resource management? HRM में क्या क्या काम रहता है? जैसे रिक्रूटिंग रहता है, हायरिंग रहता है, ट्रेनिंग, डेवलपिंग and compensating, including performance assessment of reward system of a company's employee. All activities comes under human resource management. Then comes to the next is company's infrastructure. What is the company's infrastructure? Now these activities support activities performed in the company's value chain, including general management, sales, marketing, operations, and these all activities are comes under company's infrastructure. Okay, so these all comes under company's infrastructure. Next come to outsourcing. Outsourcing का मतलब क्या है? What is outsourcing? So outsourcing describe a company's decision to purchase a value creating activity from an external supplier. From an external supplier. This is called outsourcing. Outsourcing किसे कहते हैं? Outsourcing डिस्क्राइब करता है वो कंपनी डिसीजंस के बारे में जो कंपनी परचेस करता है वैल्यू क्रिएटिंग के लिए, एक्टिविटीज के लिए, और किससे करता है? एक्सटर्नल सप्लायर, जो बाहर के सप्लायर हो उनके साथ कोलैबोरेशंस करके जो अपना एसेट या फिर अपना ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को एनलार्ज करते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड आउटसोर्सिंग. दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड आउटसोर्सिंग. ओके. Now first, what are the next you can have the questions, that is maybe outsourcing has become important and may become outsourcing may become important and may become more important in future for two reasons. What are the two reasons for outsourcing which is becoming so important? Number one is the first, there are limits to the abilities of companies to possess all the bundles of all the bundles of resources and capabilities that are required to achieve superior performance relative to the competitors in all of its primary and support activities. Then the second one, with limits to their resources and capabilities, companies can increase their companies can increase their ability to develop resources and capabilities to develop core competencies and achieve competitive advantage by nurturing only a few core competencies. The next one is, however, outsourcing is yet to pick up in India in a major way. What are the way? When outsourcing a company seek the greatest value. In other words, a company wants the outsourcing only to companies processes a core company. When evaluating resources and capabilities, companies must be carefully not to outsource activities in which they can create a capture and values. Now, additionally, companies should not outsource primary and support activities that are used to neutralize environmental threats or complete necessary ongoing organizations. Okay. So the next come to the next topic is corporate strategy. What is corporate strategy? Previously, the discussion centered around selecting and implementing a business level or competitive strategy, which include the actions a company should take to compete in a single industry or product market, and the competitive actions and response that affect the competitive dynamics of a single industry or product market. In contrast, when a company diversifies its operation by operating businesses in several industries, corporate level strategy becomes the primary focus. This means that a diversified company has two levels of strategy. Number one is business level or competitive, and corporate level, that is company wide, which entails selecting a strategy that focuses on the selections and management of a fix of businesses. Now, corporate level strategies detail actions taken to gain a competitive advantage through the selections and management of a mix of business competing in several industries or production market. The primary concerns are what business should be the company do, or what business should the company be in, how should the company office manage its group of its business, how can the corporations as a whole adds up to more than the sum of its business parts, sum of its business part. So these are the three important questions the outsourcing part need to be answered. Now, how the strategies are being made based on SWOT. What is the meaning of the SWOT? Strategy, okay, involved in the management or creating the portfolio of any organizational, that is SWOT, SWOT. क्या लिखा है? For each of the business, the company should do the SWOT analysis of its position to understand its own competitive position. Okay. Now, corporate top level managers should consider their company's group or mix of business as a portfolio of core competencies as they attempt to create value by selecting and implementing corporate level strategy. Managers will be challenged to achieve strategic competitiveness and earn above average return while competing in a highly competitive global environment that is characterized by a high degree of risk, complexity, uncertainty, and ambiguity. As you can see from figure 5.5, the primary approach to corporate level strategy is diversification, a strategy that requires top level managers to develop and implement a multi business effort encompassing a variety of industry environment. Diversification strategy is supposed by an assumption that managers of diversified companies possesses unique management skill that can effectively be used to craft multi-business multi-businesses and to craft multi-businesses and developing the varieties of industrial development. Now, diversification strategy is supposed by assumption that a managers of diversified companies possess unique management skills that can effectively be used to craft multi-business strategies and improve a company's strategic competitiveness in the process. This leads to the prevailing theory that companies diversify when they have excess resource capabilities and core competencies that have multiple users. Now, strategic options, यहां पर भी स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑप्शंस है, एक है वीक, एक है स्ट्रॉन्ग. तो वीक में क्या क्या ऑप्शंस हो सकता है? रिफॉर्मुलेट single business concentration strategy to achieve a turnaround, acquire another company in the same business to strengthen competitive position, vertical integration forward or backward if it strengthens competitive position, diversification, be acquired by sell out to a strong rival, abandonment, the last resort in the event of its failure. Now come to the stronger options. What are the stronger options of strategies? Number one is continue single business concentration, international expansion, vertical integration if it strengthens the company's competitive position, relate diversification, to transfer skill and expose expertise built up in the company's core business to adjacent business. Now, strategy options: reformulate single business concentration strategies to achieve turnaround, international expansion if market opportunities exist, merger with a rival company to strengthen competitive position, vertical integrations only if it strengthens competitive positions substantially, diversification, harvest, divest, liquidation, a last resort in events all else fail. Now, related diversification, unrelated diversification, joint venture into a new areas, vertical integration, strengthen competitive positions, continue single business concentration by taking market share from weaker rivals. Okay. Now, here are few definitions are there. One line definition. What is forward integrations? That is gaining ownership or increased control over distributions or retailers. Then what is background integrations? Seeking ownership or increased control of a company's suppliers. Then horizontal integration, seeking ownership or increased control over competitors. Then market penetrations, seeking increased market share for present products or services in present markets through great marketing efforts. Market development, introducing present products or services to new geographic areas. Product development, seeking increased sales by improving present product or services or developing new ones. Concentric diversification, adding new but related products or services. Then conglomerate diversification, adding new unrelated products or services. Horizontal diversification, adding new unrelated products or services for present customers. Joint venture, two or more sponsoring companies forming a separate organizational for cooperative purposes. Retrenchment, regrouping through cost and assets reductions to reverse declining sales and profit. Diversitude, selling our divisions or part of organization. Then liquidation, selling all of a company's asset in parts for their tangible worth. So these are the one line definitions. I don't think any such points are there which you need to be explained very clearly. Very easy and very lucid language. The each and every definitions is there. Okay, just need to read once. You will going to understand what is the meaning of this particular things. Now, the next topic is diversification strategy. The next topic is diversification strategy. What is diversification strategy? Diversified company vary according to two factors. Number one, the level of diversification and connections or linkage between between the business units. Okay. Now, companies classified as dominant business also tend to be vertical integrated to some extent, with many having begun as a single businesses and evolving over time into a dominant business through vertical integration. Now, level of diversifications. What are the level of diversifications? Number one is low diversification level. Number two is moderate or high diversification, or number three is a very high diversification level. Look at, there is the what you can say, there is the percentage is begin. Suppose for low diversification level, single business greater than or less than 90% of revenue from a single business unit, that is A. Dominant business between 70% to 95 percentile of revenue from a single business, that is B, which is connected to A. Now, moderate or high business, minimum 70% of the revenue from a dominant business, 70% of revenue for related link, and for very high diversification level, unrelated diversified business unit not closely related, means the combinations of A, B both are required in very high diversification limited. What are the reasons for diversifications? This is the questions that may going to come. Companies may implement diversification strategies to enhance or increase the strategic competitiveness of overall organization. If they are successful, the value of the company increased. Value can be created through related or unrelated diversification. If the strategic enables the company's mix up of business to increase revenue or decrease the cost when implementing their respective business level strategies. Now, companies implemented diversification strategies for a number of reasons. These can be classified into three broad set of motives as shown in box 5.5. Okay, so in the box it has been given. Then come to the next is, you can, we will going to next is that is disorder definition. We'll go to the same thing, competitive strategies. We're going to start abilities, resources, the same thing. Now, look at the part that is competitive rivalry outcomes. Rivalry outcomes वो जो मैंने पहले पढ़ा था वही चीज पर फिर से डिस्क्राइब किया गया है. ओके, competitive rivalry outcome क्या होता है? ओके, launch, exploitation, counter attack. These are the three important things will going to be happen. That is launch, exploitations, and counter attack. Okay, now temporary advantage leading to the sustained advantage. What are the four steps of implementing step by step or incremental approach to sustaining competitive advantage? क्या क्या हो सकता है implement policies? Number one is disrupt and status. Number two is creating a temporary advantage. Number three is seize the initiative. Number four is sustain the momentum. These are the four important key structures to maintain the sustainability. Okay. Next, look at the questions. The questions are very important. What are the key components of internal environment of a business? Explain the key factors affecting the managerial decisions. Number three is define core competencies. Number four is what are the key activities of value chain analysis. Number five, define the importance of building corporate strategies. Okay. Number six is what are the key reasons for diversification. Number seven is define restructuring. Number eight is what are the major advantage and disadvantage of integrative strategy. So these are the 8 important questions. At least I will going to tell you that number one, what are the key components of internal environment of a business? This question is very, very important. Explain the key factors affecting the managerial decisions. This one is important. Come to the question number 5. Define the importance of building corporate strategies. This one is very, very important. Then come define restructuring. What are the major advantage and disadvantage of integrative strategy? Question number 8. Out of 8 questions, 3 or 4 questions are very, very important. Okay, as there are readings are there, you need to go through this question answer. That is question number 8, question number 1, question number 2, question number 4. What are the key activities of value chain analysis? Okay, and question number 6. What are the key reasons of diversification? These 5 questions are very, very important as compared to other 8 questions, remaining 3. Okay, इस ये जो 5 क्वेश्चंस मैंने बताया, इसमें से कम आपको 2 या फिर कम से कम एक तो कॉमन 100% आपको आने वाला है पक्का. उसके बाद we will going to start the next unit, that is unit 6, that is generic tools of analysis. In the next class we will going to start unit 6, that is generic tools of analysis. Okay, That's all for today's class. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay, so here I comes to the end of this class session. Thank you.